Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all. EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited and Tillian Group Country Cold Store.
Self-isolation is not a prison sentence, but it's the safest way to protect the people around you from possibly getting sick. Continue to comfortably buy your groceries and whatever you need, even when in quarantine. Use Coop Bank's e-banking to transfer funds to a close friend or family member's account and get them to do your shopping for you. Log on to www.grenadacoopbank.com and sign up for Coop Bank's e-banking.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Co-op Bank introduces e-payments, our new e-banking feature that allows you to send money to friends or family. E-payments, a swift, simple, and secure way of transferring money.
Welcome home. Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we get, it's so classy. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Tillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
You are offered a wonderful opportunity to win a grocery coupon to the tune of EC $250, redeemable at any of the food fairs. All you've got to do to qualify is like, share, comment, and follow EDDIE-FICATION on any of our social media platforms. This promotion continues for all June with one draw on Thursday, June 30th. The winner will be announced immediately after advising the said winner. Any overseas winner is asked to kindly transfer their winning to a relative or friend who lives in the state of Grenada. I am extending an open invitation to any individual or company tuned in to come on board and assist with our drive to whip up an interest in getting more of our young people to pull up their chair and pay attention to the instructive thoughts and ideas shared on this program as we seek to edify them to make better decisions that would help to shape a better future for themselves and the future security of the nation as a whole. Join me in bringing excitement to our audience with a chance to win something that can brighten their corner in these challenging times. Reach out and touch someone as regularly as you can afford. Of course, due recognition will be given to you for your active partnership in this regard. Thanks in advance.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all. Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver.
Wonderful, folks. And of course, I'm trying to multitask here. You know, multitasking, they say, is overrated. And I believe in that also, because you can do a lot of things, yes, at one time, but are you doing each of them properly? That's the big question. That's the big question. But anyhow, be that as it may, we have some turkeys to fry, some things to do. And of course, right. This is, I'd like to say, welcome to my 80th independent live session and my 26th for 2022, as we welcome change that is well ensconced among us. For this change to last, remember, I always told you so, we have to want it to last. We've got to first be the change that we want to see. We cannot become new parasites and new beneficiaries. The country just can't afford it. The country has been raped since 1995, and people must account. We have to be sacrificial lambs today and wait it out and learn from the consummate Indians. Eat little to live long. Our subject matter today is, and listen to this carefully, folks, if you are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. If you're brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. And that's according to Paulo Coelho. I went into this election period full of confidence that it is time for this bad Trump-like joke to end. The level of nastiness and inferiority that this little nation had to put up with could never have gone on ad infinitum. When I told you all that the change had landed, you must have been thinking it was a joke I'm making. It was just awaiting Thursday 23rd to situate itself properly. Over the last 2 years, when I launched off onto my public-only positive vibes journey, I know quite a few of you thought I was joking. I always advised you that what you send out into the universe comes back to you tenfold. Interestingly, the algorithms this evoked in response to my consistency was somewhat tremendous. I started receiving messages from all over regarding these positive vibes with strong and certain admonitions like, quote, your future is blessed. That's just one. Everything you do going forward will bring great positive rewards. That's just two. The next 6 months of this year will be much, much better than the last 6 months of this year thus far. And you will be bountifully blessed going forward. That's just three. The fourth one, something you prayed hard for is about to be delivered, and you will live happily ever after. That's another. God protects and rewards all his people who make sacrifices of their own lives for the good of others. That's another. Folks, I can go on to no end, but those messages that continue to fall on my social media pages reassured me to no end that I was in the right pew and the right church. And the more I continue to push positive vibes, is the more daily reassurances I received that things were going to be good for me going forward. I have told you all too often that what you focus on the longest in your life becomes the strongest. Goodly folks, I am pleasantly surprised at the number of commendations I received personally from well-wishers, both locally and abroad. I got them by phone calls, I got them by texts, email, social media messages. Wow. I thank you. I thank all of you for your messages. I thank all of you for your genuine messages of commendation. You were just fantastic. Thank you. I had absolutely no idea that so many people were paying attention. I have chosen a couple to share out of gratitude and deep appreciation here today. One, a businessman, a foreign and local mix, called me from overseas. He voted and had to catch a flight immediately after. All I can say is, wow. He said with a very teary voice, you know, you can hear when people's voice has some tears in it. Eddie, thanks for all your positive vibes and daily inspiration that you sent me by WhatsApp, and all the good stuff that you keep posting on your social media pages. Do not for a moment underestimate the impact these have had on the psyche of our people. Do not underestimate for a moment the far-reaching influence they have had on helping to sanitize the brain of many to bring the change that we are about to experience in Grenada. I've received your daily inspiration from so many people who forwarded it to me that I did not expect to receive it also. But they didn't even realize that I was getting it directly from you already. You have done your part, and we are grateful. Keep up the good work that God has chosen you to do without fear or favor. You're a true patriot, and we should be grateful for your efforts. That's the first one. The second one, dear Mr. Frederick, very short. I'm sending this note to simply say thank you for allowing God to use you in effecting his change for his people in beautiful Grenada. You were immeasurably effective. May it please you to always avail yourself to his will. You shall never regret it. Again, well done. I shall make a special prayer for you on Sunday, please God. The person, of course, sincerely so, but I'm not at liberty to tell you who, because this is just not my job. The third one, best joke. NNP spend all this money on big artists just to entertain the NDC people for free. Eddie, congrats on your hard work and wising up the people, especially our youth, to eat them out and vote them out. They obviously listened. The fourth one here, folks, and final one that I'll share. Give yourself a pat on the back as well, Uncle. Your tireless efforts counted as much as the votes received. I am honored to know the giants that helped to engineer the changes that we so desperately needed. Good job, sir. Here ends the chosen commendations that I will share here for today. There were some more pointedly sort of vulgar ones, kind of outlandish, that are not for sharing on this occasion. The jubilation should tell those who do not know when a joke has ended that if they were brave enough to say goodbye, life would have rewarded them with a new hello. Let's take a break here and we'll come back to continue this.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion piece. Only Fred can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited and Tillian Group Country Cold Store.
Self-isolation is not a prison center. Okay, folks, so that was the wrong one, but the first thing was correct, so we'll just change it for the next one. Beautiful. So, goodly folks, welcome back. You know, the usual thing is for me to pay homage to the people who are tuned in. Come on, folks, share the live. Share it as many times as you can with as many people as you can, because we don't want all these good stuff to be wasted, do you? We have Tabia, Kishon, we have Carrie Ann, Kendra, Lima, Keen, Sawandi, bless your heart, my friend, and welcome home. Reginald, we have Abigail, Natonia, Cynthia, Doris. As usual, Doris is a fixture. It's always a pleasure, my dear. Jillian, Kelvin, John, Valma, Glennis, Allison, Dale, Kendra, Shane. Welcome, folks. And then we have on this other platform, Agatha, Allison, DD, Sonia, long time no hear, see, no, was able to welcome you. Kiev, or Kiev, Rami, Rami, I bet you if you listened from the beginning, you would have heard something similar, something familiar. JJ, Sharon, Dennis, Godfrey, Michaela. Who do we have here again? Let's see. Evelyn, Humble Man, Ezra, Michelle, Kathy, Karen, Judy. Always a pleasure, my dear. And Atali. We just got another couple here, Lena Bless. We have Yali or Yoli. Then we have Anne and Deborah. So, folks, moving right along, because we have quite a bit of turkeys to fry here this evening. So, welcome back. Now, the few people who are close to me and are privileged to understand and appreciate the genuine nature of my positivity, they can tell you that they usually ask me how I do it. At times, I'm shaking, folks, because I am human. But God had hooked me up with good people who are there for me when my confidence is shaken. When my confidence in life is shaken, folks. Because it is shaken from time to time. Folks, I'm never ashamed or shy to show my emotion, especially to the few inner circle friends and buddies that I have. In fact, both Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and his right hand, Orlando Kijana Romaine, are privy to this. These are two young men that I just have the greatest time for. My confidence was never shaken on the required victory from shame and scandal for our nation, as I saw that a majority of people were ready for nastiness to end in this country. I looked at the rallies of both parties and saw that the then incumbents was same picture, only different locations. On the contrary, the main opposition's crowds were growing exponentially. I would not have been surprised if the campaign had 2 more weeks to go, that the incumbents' crowd may have been absorbed by the main opposition NDCs. Even the waste of resources on high-profile foreign artists proved totally ineffective, as they brought them in and treated NDC youth for free. I trust and pray that the important lesson here was well learned. That old, outdated playbook for campaign only showed up the bankruptcy of innovation that the then incumbent was suffering from. Folks, we have learned that in truth and in fact, that a good leader finds out what people want, where they want to go, and takes a shortcut to get in front of them and takes them there. That's what a good leader does. Deacon Mitchell's success was all about timing. He has been the right leader who said the right things, was in the right place, and was there during the right time. Boom! Success. We had the man with the pepper sauce around us, close to us all this time. And because of his humility and juventud, youth in other words, we ignored any thought of this qualified, genuinely forever young looking and qualified person. Wow. I am so proud of Deacon Mitchell. He is a man I am happy to call friend and brother. My daughter knows him for all her life, and the affinity she feels for him is real. At some regular fish and rice gatherings, which were mostly hosted at my home, where professional men, a group of professional men of differing viewpoints, gathered in our pre-COVID era, I recall the spirited discussions had, with all leaving relieved of whatever may have been bothering them, regardless of their political preference. Interestingly, no one left these gatherings uttering a word from the therapeutic nature of the takeaways. It was only one latecomer whose pungent and inferior views quickly objected too early in the game, who left and branded this important social activity a political meeting. Needless to say, that particular one will never regain entry upon resumption because of the inability to rise to the occasion. It was at our first pull-up-a-chair social session with a group of about 20 young people just before COVID that both Deacon Mitchell, now Prime Minister Mitchell, that I'm proud to say, and Orlando Kijana Romaine of Hexi fame and NDC PRO notoriety promised, both of them promised to give me a 60th birthday gift of change, which was delivered Thursday, 23rd June, 2022. Gift wrapped. I want to thank them for the release they made me feel by working as hard as they did to deliver all of us from the inferior bondage that the Grenadian people came out in their numbers to secure for us. That's freedom. Thanks to you, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and Orlando Romaine, for coming through with your well-placed gift. God alone knows I could have done with such reprieve, let alone the whole country. All I can say is that our pull-up-a-chair session was well-founded and our committed discourses to change the nation's trajectory to nowhere were well-placed. It is years now that Deacon Mitchell had been saying to his inner circle of friends that a Mitchell bound to run this country. We are today glad that it is the decent Mitchell that prevailed in our June 23rd elections. Deacon has prevailed with his calm, humility, brights, erudition, candor, and track record of success. Wow. He will learn quickly because he's easy to teach. Thank God he's not interested in learning to thief, to lie, and to insult people and keep them poor. That is for somebody else to do. Thank God he's not interested in victimization and marginalization. He was brought up by a decent grandmother and a decent mother. He comes from decent people. Thank God he's not interested in pauperizing the vulnerable and gutterizing the majority to meet any forever need to be in power and to cream off the top for the benefit of his greedy and vulture friends. The truth is, he never limes or hangs around such bad-intentioned people as his associates and friends. Deacon Mitchell has been known to prevail over the past administration and the then incumbent himself personally in court at every turn. No wonder he continued the winning streak he promised over the older Mitchell at this leadership contest. The transformation the nation needs is going to require, folks, all hands on deck. We did not just vote out one set of parasites to replace them with another set. Folks, remember I'm an independent voice, eh? Remember what I just said. Because a lot of you party hacks, you have your own agenda, you know. But you see me, as long as God give me strength and life to be around, I will not allow no more parasites to emerge. Because we have some parasites to transform already. And we're now working with a new set. So if you know you have parasitic tendencies, go by the bushery quick. Because I could smell a parasite from a mile. And I will call you out. Hello? I will call you out. Supporters, you must understand and appreciate that transformation would take time and that one term, all you just call it 5 years. I don't call it 5 years at all. I call it 60 months. One term is not enough for you to get a total swing around that you deserve after 27 years of cancer. You have to remain consistent at your support for the change to take root and kusume. This nonsense of you becoming disillusioned early, throwing up your hands in the air, abandoning ship, cut it out. That must stop. In the same breath, all of you wrong pegs in the various square holes you have been rammed into by the parasitic oligarchy and kleptocracy over the years. Listen to me carefully here this afternoon. You have to make way. Make way. You have had from 1995 to the present, including the Tillman Thomas administration period, 2008 to 2013, because he didn't touch none of you. You have had 95 to now, which is 27 years. You had a gravy train running for 27 years. And 27 years is a hell of a long time for you to have saved and put aside for this day of your total retirement. Just go. Move from where you were planted and give someone else a chance before we have to uproot you by force. Because if that is what is required, trust me, you will be uprooted. This dispensation has no tolerance for square pegs in wrong holes. That is why the whole place has been inferiorized, because none of you could know, you don't even know your elbow from a hole in the ground. And I'm very serious. Make way. We have had enough of you and your doddering incompetence while you fleeced our nation's treasury. We are tired of your lack of productivity in return for the largesse that you collected without a conscience on a monthly basis. All of you who fall in that category of parasites on various government boards and other boards that require government representation, do the decent thing, please. Hand in your resignations. This may signal that you have a modicum of decency in you, and if necessary, you may be considered again, if at all. The whole lot of you aided and abetted nonsense over the previous dispensation, and you made absolutely no positive difference except to your pockets by making a living or additional living through the collection of regular board fees. You hear sternness here today, folks? I'm making no joke, and I intend to ratchet up the ante with this particular role here. We ain't making no joke this time. If you too are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. So study your heads.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative, Bank Limited, and Tillian Group, Country Cold Store.
The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Consultant human resource development.
Yes, and I see a comment here underscoring all that I've just said, because I looked at the swearing in yesterday. I see some people look like they dust their jacket and they reach. I see potential parasites around the precincts. I see a few people edging up. But you have to know, folks, people of Grenada voted for change, not small change. Change. That cancer needs to be uprooted completely so that we can bring Grenada back to sobriety, some form of sobriety, some form of decency, if you will. So folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Could you imagine that by 4:36 p.m. on Thursday, I received a bold text from a close friend in the south of Ireland, in the south, advising me that the results of the election could reflect 8-7 to the NDC. By this time, I had already heard, by way of exit polls, that it could very well be 9-6 to the NDC, because one seat in the 7 that was put over on the other side was really and truly pretty close. But by reflex, I asked the person, where did you get this from? I was quickly told, don't ask me my source, repetitively. That person repeated that at least 3 times. And because I know the person well, I read through the insistence of repeating that there was something there for me to understand or interpret. So I read through the firmness of the sarcasm and started to allow my imagination to just go wild. Alas, I was able to take what was told to me as gospel. I started to share this with the folks who matter, with a view to analyzing their fears, or rather allaying, their fears and their anxiety, because a lot of people were anxious. But I'm talking about relaying this to who matter, not just the Marishan parish. This worked well for us all. So when the broadcast had Chris Diali and Byron Campbell declaring seats, and they reached 4 to the NDC and 6 to the NNP, I recall telling a youth man, among whom I had in my presence, and obviously they were nervous as to the likelihood of the NDC not making it at all, because they put themselves out to go and vote for the NDC. I said to them, hey, don't worry, man. The other 5 seats are the NDC's. I said so with confidence, cool confidence, not loud and no, just cool confidence, as the only way for this to have turned out, based on all the energies put into this campaign and the fight altogether, was victory. That was the only way for this to turn out. The victory for me, therefore, was anticlimactic. I had absolutely no emotion whatsoever. I waited for all of 27 years for this nightmare to end, And now that it has come to an end, it did not have the desired effect it should have had in the joyous department. That I regret, I must say. However, many of us trust that God's guidance will continue to flow on Deacon and his team, and that he will lead with wisdom, honesty, and truth. What a pity those virtues are so old-fashioned and out of the door, since vagabonds and scoundrels were allowed to slip under the radar and be in charge for so goddamn long, and whose tenure damaged 2 generations of young people. I just trust and pray not beyond repair, relegating them to the back in their lives. Sad that we know people who supported this crap up to the last just because they did not want to lose their benefits. You realize that for true to form, they can only be described as the greedy and the vultures who suck on the vulnerable, whom they have managed to transform as perpetually needy. Oh God, all you wicked, we? All you really wicked. We've seen so many of these so-called analysts who are really not qualified to be part of a race to an outside latrine, and who should be correctly called analysts. Lord, help us in this place. Could you imagine these inept and generally unable personages attempting to discuss and tear apart serious developments that require ability to reason, let alone logical deduction? Boy, those subject matters they discussed ended up looking just like them. All I can say is pathetic. Real pathetic. The coverage of the election results was abysmally poor. Really sad that we could be in 2022, and instead of us reflecting true North development as a people, we are exposed to the lowest of lows. This thing bad, you know, folks. Woo. Is a good thing I had my concrete information by way of exit polls sourced back to the then incumbent so that I did not have to depend on these shallow wafflers. The amount of work we have to do in this place to bring back some semblance of decency, normalcy, sobriety, and what have you to our civilization requires all hands on deck, folks. All hands on deck. If the most recent post-election expressions of a certain female successful candidate on the losing side is anything to go by, a lot of us would have to stand by to rebuff she and anyone like her, so that the mood of this country could not be disturbed by such demonic vitriol mixed with biblical scriptures. As an effort to conscript the unsuspecting, unintelligent, which their long tenure in office have certain over this, they continue. Folks, we in plenty trouble here. But I tell you all, we have to stand by to rebuff them because they come in, you know. The only thing they know is the gutter, you know. And you and I may have to take a little visit every now and then to deal with them. Because the largesse mash up, you know. The gravy train get derailed. Hello? And put in God. Which God is that? I wonder what our God look like. I wonder what that God looks like. What image they have in their head when they mention this God? I wonder. Folks, but you see something? With the almost 80-year-old leader badly wounded and forced into retirement in spite of his one for the road request. A leader who said the reason why he was running again is because he could not find a worthy successor within the ranks of his party and would certainly have to look outside. It is speculated that the meltdown we all observed and witnessed by this said female representative could very well be an attempt to assert herself as the spotlight lady to rise up and become leader of that den. Soldiers of decency here in Grenada, all of us in there yet, I'm making a clarion call to all soldiers of decency among our local population who want to give this new young breed of politicians a deserved chance to prove themselves. You will have to ensure that you stand in the gap to guard the leadership of this new administration from all the smut and unreasonable demands and pettiness planned to contribute to some form of destabilization. I, for one, plan to stand in the gap to help vung them away. You know the word vung? I, for one. each of the 14 other elected members, well, let's say 13 because Tobias get dumped. You could imagine each of the other 13 elected members of parliament in the last dispensation need to introspect, indeed, to realize that if they were together, they were really a together bunch, they would have helped their leader take a softer exit. They would have helped him. You mean to tell me, of the 13 of them, none could have been found to add up to at least 8 to shore up an intention to replace him with one among this 8? So he would have had a choice to accept a parachute landing into retirement instead of through this humiliating national rejection and dejection. Oh, folks. But then again, you know, the man was correct in truth that he could not find any among them to replace him. The threat, if they had the cojones to make, should have been that if he does not accept their offer, they will be forced to go to the Governor General to advise her that he no longer has their confidence to continue as Prime Minister, and that he would have been totally decimated. That would have been the end of him. But you know, I am sure if that were done, they would have stood a better chance against the opposition at the polls, as they proved that this, you know, all they basically proved, sorry, is that he was correct. Totally correct at that they lack leadership qualities to succeed him. So in his entire political career, 2 things he was correct about: that they do good and that he would unmask the masked men, because he ended up unmasking masked men in Grenada, and that none of them inside there was good enough to succeed him, because they proved it. They proved it to us all. You know, that is what you call blind loyalty, self-imposed slavery under his dictatorship. They were really chosen well. They preferred to go down with him. Sad. But my question is, you remember I always told you in the past that a lot of these people, when election done and they're out of grace, they just look like vagrant when you see them. But you know what? Somebody corrected me once and said, they look like themselves, because that's how they used to look before. So they had no right, people had no right to have accepted them as their leaders. Isn't that interesting? Folks, I wonder where they will get a job now, especially. I'm not qualified to be anything other than what he picked them up on the side of the road and made them into: round pegs in square holes. Interestingly, folks, during the campaign period, we all saw loads of inside information coming out from inner circle meetings of the then incumbent. But that was never a thing of the past. The level of dishonesty regarding victory persisted among the top leadership of the then incumbent. Even after confirmation, canvassing on polling day revealed the likely loss by 4 p.m. A vast majority of their supporters had already voted by 2 to 30 p.m., as is usual. But that was in stark contrast with what happened in 2018 and 2013. In 2018 in particular, by 3 p.m., they were in celebration mode. Isn't that interesting? But the inherent dishonesty continued as was gathered from feedback about bigger stage for celebration, plenty drinks being submerged in plenty ice, while certain people park up the people's black vans and headed north to their country hideaway home, knowing full well that people had put them out of season. If they were brave enough or even blessed with integrity enough to say goodbye, life would have rewarded them with a new hello.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative, Bank Limited, and Tillian Group, Country Cold Store.
The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Okay. Now, welcome back, folks. The outcome is what it is. And of the 60,597 people who voted, the NDC was able to secure 31,398 votes, representing 51.81%, while the NNP was able to attract 28,959 at 47.79%. The NDC was able to win both the first past the post and the popular vote. Interestingly, the NDC increased its votes from 23,249 in the 2018 election by 8,148 votes in 2022. The NNP, on the other hand, was able to see a decrease of 3,833 votes in 2022 from its 33,792 votes in 2018. The people have spoken loudly and clearly and traded in the old politics of lies, trickery, corruption, nepotism, spite, vindictiveness, evil, marginalization, and all the forms of nastiness we were privy to since 1995. Folks, I invite all of you who love Grenada to stand by so that you can stand by your new administration and give them the necessary support to sanitize this nation properly. Look out for all the permanent secretaries in the service who would all of a sudden find their rule books and want to use them as a form of sabotage, when in truth and in fact, they didn't know where the rule book was for the last 9 years, or for the last whatever it is since they've been permanent secretaries, since they've been made permanent secretaries. Look out for the local rat trap media practitioners that we have. Look out for them, who lost their tongues for all of 1995 to the present and obeyed the call to don't go there. Look out for them. We saw indications in the campaign period where they were emboldened to ask and make demands of the main opposition, but around inferior than incumbent. Let us wait with bated breaths to protect the new government from these traps. Ask them where did they when the other administration was in office. Why they did not ask them that or those questions. Look out for those who would change their skins in order to fly under the radar to continue to eat our food, though they are under the category of wrong pegs in square holes. You know, some of them hide behind the ballot being secret and nobody know who they vote for to come and tell you that they vote for you, you know. Well, I have the confidence that Deacon Mitchell is not a Tillman Thomas. I have that confidence. Folks, all the misfits and miscreants who fall under the category of beneficiaries of the last despotic administration, clear the way before you have to be bulldozed. The Grenada going forward is not for eating a food. It is for genuine development. You eat enough, it's time for you to purge. Go and take some Sene, some Mistalba. Go and take some kind of, bush and see if you could cleanse yourself. The past 27 years has been long enough for you to have saved enough from your largesse. You therefore need to have prepared for your retirement, which has arrived. All you board members, I'm reminding you, and a select few chairs of all government boards, send in your resignations as the decent thing to do with speed. You know that little children's song? Clean up, everybody has their share. You all know who you are. Clean up fast. It is somebody else's turn now. Yours has expired. The only unfortunate thing here is that you never made a desirable difference in the quadrant of development. Minus, minus, minus. What a disgrace. I don't know how many of you can face the day knowing that all you did for the last 27 years was eat a food and rape Grenada mercilessly. Your hibernation period has arrived. Go and digest all that you were privileged to eat, and hopefully you come out repentant and fresh for the next phase of your life. On a different note here, fast people, and God knows Grenada have a lot of them, that want to come under people's social media page to interrupt your right to celebrate after 9 straight years in the wilderness. Put them in their goddamn place. Put them in their place. When they were celebrating, what you were doing? What were you doing? I mean, folks, this is something else. Put them in their place. All those who belong to the Jesus industry, posing as Christians, who all of a sudden want to be like your prefects to tell you that God don't like ugly, who are nowhere to be seen and heard on the nationwide ugly from 1995 to the present, or to recently, to Thursday. Put all of them in their place. Because they're too one-sided. Keep quiet. Give people a chance. Give people a chance. Give people who waited all of 9 years suffering under crap presided over by a kleptocracy a chance to genuinely celebrate, exhale, breathe as they deserve to. Go quietly in your corner and lick your wounds. Pray for healing and forgiveness, and return fresh and ready to integrate into the new society which will be constructed for us all, because you are going to be a part of it. But you have to take a sabbatical so you could come back clean and ready for it. If your leaders were brave enough to say goodbye when they should, life would have rewarded all of them, including you, with a new hello. As I take my leave here, folks, I am aware that insecure people whose foundation has finally shifted are expected to use insults when they cannot make civilized arguments based on facts. I am even so more prepared today for that than any other time in my life. But I've become a hermit anyway. I don't socialize. I don't mix. So I'm not within earshot of their nonsense. and I call a spade a spade. I'm no longer on the market for friends because I know who they are. Very few, and we're tight, and that's enough. Full up. I just want to remind you all, folks, that the dollars don't make noise. The change does. I am in, I am out, and just before I'm gone, I want to thank all of you for joining me today. Spread the word. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to see this after the fact. But spread the word. Keep sharing it so that they can understand and get a vibe that there is an independent mind watching. There is an independent mind willing and able to stand in the gap. To do what? Guard the interest of the change. Because this change was hard fought, long in coming. And we're making no joke. We're making no joke to protect it. All the inferior infidels, remember what I tell you, take a 5, take a rest, lick your wounds. We are ready to integrate you into the society because the 107,000 alleged Grenadians that we have here, I don't believe that at all though. I think it's 90,000. But anyhow, they say officially 107,000. The 107,000 of us, we need to be together. So the creature that divided you to rule you, that gone. That creature is no more. Sanitize your mind and get yourself integrated because we have to rub shoulders and we have to live together. Just not right now. Because you have to sanitize first. We don't want to catch what you have. And we don't want you to contaminate us. Sanitize yourself and hurry up. Do it genuinely, but be fast because we have a nation to build. We have a journey to set out on, and we don't want anybody to be left behind. But just remember, you eat your food already. Thursday was wipe mouth day. You wipe your mouth. Go and sit down now. Don't let us have to put you sit down. Go and sit down. See you next week, God willing. Regular programming. So until next Thursday, stay safe, stay well, and do your duty. Remain lifted. Remain lifted. Remember, there's only one of you have. So what should you do? Take care of that one self that you have.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by Grenada Cooperative, Bank Limited, Antillian Group, Country Cold Store.
The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by.
It hasn't been easy, but that does not mean that life has to fall apart. Work, play, and take care of your finances from home. Connect with friends on social media. Host Zoom meetings with colleagues and use Co-op Bank's e-banking to pay your bills and manage your funds. Log on to www.grenadacoopbank.com and sign up for Co-op Bank's e-banking.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Co-op Bank introduces e-payments, our new e-banking feature that allows you to send money to friends or family. E-payments, the swift, simple, and secure way of transferring money.
Welcome home. Believe in our strength. We'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we get. It's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Continuing Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
You are offered a wonderful opportunity to win a grocery coupon to the tune of $250, redeemable at any of the food fairs. All you've got to do to qualify is like, share, comment, and follow Edification on any of our social media platforms. This promotion continues for all of June with one draw on Thursday, June 30th. The winner will be announced immediately after advising the said winner. Any overseas winner is asked to kindly transfer their winning to a relative or friend who lives in the state of Grenada. I am extending an open invitation to any individual or company tuned in to come on board and assist with our drive to whip up interest in getting more of our young people to pull up their chair and pay attention to the instructive thoughts and ideas shared on this program as we seek to edify them to make better decisions that would help to shape a better future for themselves and the future security of the nation as a whole. Join me in bringing excitement to our audience with a chance to win something that can brighten their corner in these challenging times. Reach out and touch someone as regularly as you can afford. Of course, due recognition will be given to you for your active partnership in this regard. Thanks in advance.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
EDDIE-FICATION with consultant human resource development and training specialist Eddie Frederick is powered by